Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fairborn City School Board of Education regular meeting, Thursday, November 4th, 2021. And if I could ask our two new rookie board members to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Tim? Wendy?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Philo, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. McCourt.
Here.
Mr. Browning.
Here.
Mrs. Malad.
Here.
Ms. Reister.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here. Next item is to approve the agenda as presented. May I
So
have a
moved.
motion? Jerry, thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Mary. Mr. Philo?
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes. Approve the minutes. Next item is to approve minutes of the Thursday, October 7th, 2021 regular meeting with attachment. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, Andy.
Second.
Thanks, Katie. Again, Mr. Philo, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes. Next item up is board reports for good of the order. Mary, would you start us out, please?
All right, well, as with every month, you're gonna get inundated with marching band news, so there's that. So the Fairborn Music Club is currently doing their poinsettias and wreath sale, so get in contact with your favorite marching band person, or Katie, or me, or Wendy. We can all hook you up with wreaths and poinsettias. That being said, we have a competition Saturday, and then next Thursday, our marching band takes to the road to Indianapolis to Lucas Oil Stadium for Grand Nationals, which is super exciting, so send them all your good vibes. Shout out to a new thing we got going on called the Skyhawk Superstars. I don't really know the inner workings behind it. I feel like it's a nomination thing. Is that right, Pam? Yeah, so nomination really takes what people tend to consider an everyday job and highlights the good things that they're doing in the district. I love seeing them every day. I love seeing people getting recognized for what they probably feel like is just their job, but it's good things, and it's what sets us apart as a district. So I love that. Weehawk Powder Puff game was so much fun. If you missed it, I'm so sorry you missed it because it was so much fun. Trunk or Treat was, I did not attend it, but I did look at all of the pictures that friends and the district posted, and it was super cute to see the costumes and all of that. So I love that we were able to do that this year. Congratulations to the Fairborn High School varsity competition cheer. They came in second in their class, first in their division, so kudos to them. And for Halloween, I loved seeing staff and students all dressed up in their costumes and the fun and just being able to get back to enjoying life and doing the things and celebrating and having a good time and good humor. So I appreciate everything that everybody has done this year so far and moving forward for continuing to bring some normalcy back to our days.
And your shout out?
Oh, and then I have shout outs. Sorry, I was wrapped up in me. Baker Middle School. So Mr. John Barr and his access class collected a bunch of things for the Baker Middle School Hawks Closet. So if you're not familiar with the Hawks Closet, it helps Fairborn students and families who are in need. So they've collected 48 tubes of toothpaste, 105 toothbrushes, 31 various deodorants, 60 various hand soaps, 23 bottles of shampoo, 5 bottles of lotion, and then 4 miscellaneous hygiene items. So kudos to Mr. Barr and his access class for helping out their fellow classmates and their families. And now I'm done.
Thanks, Mary.
For real this time.
Andy?
Well, I'd like to congratulate the winners of the school board election, even though you're uncontested. So Tim and Wendy, welcome to the board, and Katie, thank you for continuing. Also, city council members, congratulations to Mary for her win of city council, and to Adam and Rodney winning their positions. And Bath Township, we have Michelle and Rob Hoffman as new members of the Bath Township trustees. So elections are important, even on a very local level. I was reading one turnout that was only, I think Montgomery County reported a turnout of only 21%. And if you do the math on that, that means a little over 10% of the voters are making the decisions. So I don't know why people don't want to turn out to vote, but anyway, I paid a brief visit to the Career Center open house, which is still continuing for another hour over at 68 and 35, the new Career Center. Wonderful facility, great facilities for the kids to learn trades, and all just a great thing for the entire county. And then for my shout out, we had our student and staff of the quarter awards recently. This time around, due to COVID, it was not an in-person event like it has been in the past. This program recognizes students and staff who go the extra mile, demonstrate exemplary effort, and contribute in a positive manner to improve the school environment. They receive a copy of the nomination certificate and a special Skyhawk t-shirt that's awarded only to the recipients of this award. From the primary school now, I'm going to apologize ahead of time in case I butcher some names here, because there's some I'm pretty unfamiliar with. From the primary school, preschool, Peyton Hochwalt and Lillian Foran, kindergartner, Otis Bilbray and Emma Spivey, first grade Luke Hoffman, and here's one I don't know, Yua Wayno, second grade Joey Roller and Allie Deskins, FCEA staff member Brittany Deskins, FEA teacher Amanda Mayer, from the intermediate school, third grade Madeline Kennedy and Hayden McIntosh, fourth grade Riley Mernack and Brody Acevedo, fifth grade Michaela Tucci and Liam Kenahan, Baker Middle School, sixth grade Serenity Johnson and Cooper Cotterman, seventh grade Wesley Roller, eighth grade Chelsea McKenzie and Isaac Perry, FEA teacher Sonia Walker. At the high school, ninth grade Haley Davies and Mustafa Ibrahim, 10th grade Raymond Reed and Grady Hinkle.
That should be Grace.
Yeah, that should be Grace.
Grace?
Yep.
Grace Hinkle, okay.
She's a band kid, we know that one.
11th grade Kayonda Hawkins and Alec Luttrell, 12th grade Alex Fall and Jordan Grant, and FEA teacher Kyle Miller. So congratulations to those winners.
Thank you, Andy, and I apologize.
Yeah,
Making you read all
picked it
those.
on me. You got only a couple more chance, only one more chance
more
after.
chance.
That's
after
it, Jerry.
tonight, so.
Yeah. I also would like to echo what Mary said related to the marching band and the competition at Miamisburg a couple weeks ago. And then this coming Saturday, they're at Miamisburg again for the MSBA championship. And if I have it right, the time they perform is 1:45. And
Yes.
for anybody that hasn't seen their competition show this year, try to take the time to go see them, because not only are the band members awesome, and the color guard, but the props this year I think they've gone above and beyond with, and it's all volunteers that put those together and stuff. And Mark Fisher
Mark
heads
Fisher.
that up. What's that?
I was to say, Mark, it's all Mark Fisher.
Yeah, Mark Fisher. And, you know, the job that he's done with the props and coordinating things and stuff like that as a volunteer to me is unbelievable. Our boys soccer won their division this year in the league, which is outstanding. And then our football team, had a tough year this year, but all through the year, officials and opposing coaches were commenting about how our kids never gave up. They played hard and they stayed positive, which to me is huge. And they played a great game at West Carrollton. They won their last game of the year, and you'd have thought they won the Super Bowl, which I think is outstanding. They got a great chance to celebrate, had fun, so it was a great way to end the year. Then from a shout-out standpoint, the first is Baker Middle School held a Red Ribbon Week, and this was to remind our middle school Skyhawks that the choices they make today will impact their future. In the access class, they watched a video with a professional boxer, and she shared her choices to avoid drugs and become one of the best boxers in the world. They also took part in a presentation that focused on the risks of vaping. And the question of the day was, how does drug use prevent you from reaching your goals? So I'd like to say thank you to the Baker Middle School leadership team on their commitment to provide the middle school Skyhawks with information on really important topics and the choices they make. Then the last one was really about the competition cheer and them taking first place in their division and second place overall in the league. And they're coached by Sherelle Flores, Jenna Fitch, and Casey Smith. So thank you to all of them, and thanks to the coaches that lead them. That's it.
Thank you, Jerry. Katie?
Did you want me to read this now?
Whatever you'd like.
Okay, yeah,
Whichever, yeah,
I'll
please.
do that now. Echoing what everyone else has said, I think my particular shout out was about the band and football, and everybody's talked about that already. So I'm gonna move on. We have a really lovely letter here from the family of Ron McDermott, who passed away recently, and I'd just like to share it with everyone. It says, Dear Fairborn City Schools, Ron devoted his life to Fairborn schools and its students. He was a graduate, teacher, coach, and administrator. He loved every minute of his time with students and teachers. His goal was to make all better, to help them learn and grow, and to connect on a personal level. An administrator once said, I'm an administrator, Ron is an educator. There is no higher praise. Thank you for honoring Ron by letting us use his beloved 5 points. Thank you also for establishing the Ron McDermott Scholarship Fund. He would be honored and humbled. Sincerely, Barb McDermott, Karen and Pete Petros, Michael, Jordan, and Madison McDermott.
Thank you, Katie. I also would like to echo some congratulations to Mary and Wendy and Tim. Tim and Wendy, we certainly look forward to working with you. And I think you're coming on at a great time, and I think you've seen in the past this, in my view, is a great board to work with. So we can't wait till you come and sit on this side of the table with us. Fall sports, indeed it was a tough year for the football team, but I think a learning year and a growing year for them. I'd like to say thank you to interim coach or acting coach Matt Smith for his leadership, and for all the guys. And I've seen a few of the games as well, and like Jerry said, this is a team and a group that never gives up. So we hope they get in the weight room here real quick, get bigger, stronger, faster, and continue that good winning way that they ended the season with. Visited the intermediate school, the new intermediate school, and seen the progress done down there on South Maple. And also the high school, the new site of the high school, where they're spreading dirt. And just to share with you, they took our stadium, or the location of the stadium, and that had to be built up 8 feet with dirt. Imagine how much dirt they moved 8 feet over an entire football field and track. So, and I saw them, they had 4 pans out there really hustling and working hard doing it. I talked to Betsy Snyder, the dentist down the street. She wants to bill us, or dentist, obstetrician. Optometrist. But she wants to send us a bill for cleaning her windows every day because of the dust. But also, on the sad note, as Katie mentioned, Ron McDermott, we'd just like to keep his family in our prayers. And also, I attended a funeral or a service for Ralph Stegner. Ralph Stegner, longtime friend, longtime Skyhawk fan. I think he died at 94. He was the oldest acting member of the Ohio State Marching Band. And here just last year, a year or two ago, he was able to march in Script, Ohio and dot the I. Ralph, businessman here in town, Rotarian, did a lot of things. And I went to school with his oldest son, Bob, and got to see Bob again, who lives out on the West Coast, but heck of a guy and a heck of a loss for Fairborn.
We should
My
also-
shout out is the Fairborn Intermediate School hosted a spirit night at Chick-fil-A to raise money for the school PTO on October 28th. Fairborn Intermediate School also held a virtual pumpkin auction October 18th through the 22nd to help support the family during the holidays. So that is our shout outs.
I just want to add one that we overlooked accidentally, was not intentional. Just wanted to also keep in our thoughts and prayers and good wishes, the family, the Turwood family, Chuck Turwood, in his passing as well. He was a teacher, administrator. I graduated with his son, so if you could keep them in your thoughts and prayers as well.
And also, one other thing, our high school AD, Kevin Alexander, lost his stepbrother last week, I think it is. And talked to Kevin, had lunch with Kevin today, and seems to be doing okay, but just keep his family in mind as well. Next item is resignation of visitors. Recognition of visitors. I'm going to recognize them or resign of one. And public comments, Mr. Philo.
Mr. McCord, we have one tonight, Chris Weingan. Chris, if you want to approach the microphone up here. Just a reminder, you have 5 minutes, and we'll time you. You know you've been here before, you know all the rules.
I appreciate it. Ran over a little time, so I appreciate the time resignation. So I'll try and keep it quick, and just to continue from the last time. The point of me speaking last month was to show that we might not have too much to fear in terms of COVID. I shared with you guys the Israeli study. I've shared with you guys the Department of Defense study. That's the United States Department of Defense, really showing that natural immunity is actually much stronger than what we first anticipated. I think when myself and my wife got diagnosed with COVID back at the end of last December, the Greene County Health Department told us that maybe these antibodies would last 3 months. Well, my wife was exposed at work, and to be on the safe side, she has to quarantine for the past couple of weeks. She went ahead and had an antibodies test, and sure enough, she still has a very strong amount of antibodies 10 months later. So that's kind of a local story, I guess, one of, hundreds, thousands right now. But I think there's hope that we might be a lot stronger and can build natural immunity over a period of time. I went looking for the CDC numbers in regards to the state of Ohio, and they're able to define the demographics of the state of Ohio in a number of different states and ages over the period of time. So between January 1st of 2020 to as of November 3rd, yesterday, so for the last 22 months, we have only seen 2,624 total COVID cases amongst the ages of 0 to 17 here in the state of Ohio. 15 of those cases were deaths amongst ages 0 to 17. Now, I'm able to cherry pick that for children, of course, not knowing the school's actual demographic. I can't associate the other ages to match what we're probably going to see amongst other teachers and staff. Also reported is pneumonia cases. I have come up and shared concerns about the masks in regards to bacterial pneumonia. They have reported 50 pneumonia deaths amongst ages 0 to 17 on the CDC website. So I did want to bring that up, that we've seen more pneumonia deaths in the state of Ohio versus 15 COVID deaths in the state of Ohio in the last 22 months since COVID has started. So with the Census Bureau in the state of Ohio, the population is 11.79 million as of April of 2020. 22.1% is 18 and under. So that's 2.605 million people are ages 18 and under in the state of Ohio. So if you put those numbers together, less than a hundredths represent the children COVID deaths in the state of Ohio. Of those cases, a tenth of those cases are representative amongst ages 0 to 17 in the state of Ohio. So I'm going to continue to say that maybe we have less to fear overall. If we want to follow JFK in saying that we have less to fear than fear itself, then I think that's the case in this situation. So I wanted to share those numbers tonight from the CDC website and continue to stand that if people want to wear masks, no one's stopping them. But we shouldn't force each other to keep wearing masks if we don't want to, especially with numbers like these that we're kind of seeing here locally in our own state. Lastly, again, I've been coming in kind of forecasting in my head what's coming next. I knew the vaccine mandates were going to be coming down the pike, and so now the mandates are finally here. There's due dates for it. We're kind of seeing deadlines and pushbacks to it, but I did want to bring the FDA letter that was sent out at the end of August in regards to the Pfizer approval rating. And I don't think it's an FDA approval at all. So the FDA letter on page 2 at the very top, wanted to give this to you guys, and I highlighted where specifically it says any type of approval. I want you to think to yourself, in regards to Pfizer, what is the name of the vaccine that has been in use since it's been rolled out last December through January and so on? There's 2 names in this letter. When it comes to the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID vaccine, the FDA is reissuing the August 12th, 2021 letter of authorization in its entirety with revisions incorporated to clarify that the emergency use authorization will remain in place. To me, that does not sound like an approval. To me, that sounds just a continuation of the emergency use authorization. So I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want us to take a copy of that? Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought there was one more.
No.
That's
Okay.
it. Nope.
Okay, very good, thank you. School district presentations, Mr. Philo.
thank
Or
you.
Mr. Lawley, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. McCourt.
Jeez.
First presentation is from Mrs. Linda Carone, and we have some outstanding Fairborn primary students here tonight to talk about the annual Fairborn Primary School Family Night.
Hello, and I would like to thank Mr. Lawley for giving approval for us to have our family night again. We're really excited about this. We have some awesome students from Fairborn Primary School who would like to speak with you.
Hi, we are students from Fairborn Primary School. My name is Owen Patrick. My name is Callie Patrick.
My name is Eleanor Geisel.
Every year, we welcome families of Fairborn Primary School to do some fun learning activities with teachers. We are so excited that we will be able to invite families back to this event this year. This year, Family Night will be on Thursday, December 9th. It's from 6 to 8 in the evening. We have a really We have a lot of fun activities, such as a book walk, a math game, people reading books to us, word bingo, making crafts, making books that we get to keep, and seeing Olaf and the Grinch. We have a really special guest that we get to meet from the North Pole, Santa. At many of the stations, we get an activity to take home. The teachers are there to talk with our parents about how they can help us at home with the take-home activities. Students have the opportunity to win a free book at the book walk and word bingo. And top it off, we even get a cookie from Santa's helpers. We would like to invite you to come join us on December 9th for a great time at your annual family night from 6 to 8.
1, 2, 3.
Hope to see you there.
You guys did so good.
Great
Yeah.
job.
Great job.
Yes,
Huh?
of course.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
I don't want to miss Olaf.
Great job.
That was awesome.
Okay, next presentation, we have Dr. Sue Brackenhoff to talk about athletic eligibility and through COVID-19.
Good evening. Last year, OHSAA waived their academic eligibility requirements because of COVID. And that expired after the end of first quarter for us. So students' grades at the end of last year were not held against them. Everyone had the opportunity to play as we returned to school for many of our kids for the first time in over a year. Our students have had many challenges over the past 18 months in regards to study habits and grades, and they are all working extremely hard. We are recommending that we afford our students the opportunity to use OHSAA minimum of 5 passing classes without a GPA for the remainder of this school year to ensure that our students have the opportunity to be athletes as they return to school and improve their study habits and grades. I know our athletic department is working closely with their students to ensure that they have the support that they need with study tables after school for many of those students. In talking to Mr. Alexander, probably the biggest challenge they have is that transition from 8th grade to 9th grade. 8th graders kind of get senioritis, middle school senioritis, that fourth quarter, and it really does challenge the athletic program as they start the fall sports. For example, Mr. Alexander said that they had 30 of our female athletes sign up for basketball, and yet they only had 11 girls that actually showed up to try out. And whether that was grade requirements or just the challenges of returning to school. So I provided you with some information. It also gives us a chance to review our policy between now and next fall, because if we extend this through this school year, fourth quarter grades would determine eligibility for fall. And then at the end of fall quarter, we would revert back to our GPA policy of 2.0. But it does give you an opportunity to review that as we move forward. So any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up, we have Mr. Patrick with a facilities update.
We have quite a bit going on. Let me start with Wright. At Wright Elementary School, I don't know if many people know this or not, but the Fairborn Food Pantry will be using the Wright Elementary School moving forward as of December the 1st, approximately. So we're in the process of getting the building ready for them to use, and I think we'll all be ready for that to take place, so that's an exciting thing. Black Lane is still under consideration for exactly what to do and when to do the abatement and demolition. There is a chance that we may use Black Lane as kind of a storage unit for materials that we might need for the high school building project. There's a chance that if you take procurement and take those materials early, it may save us some money. And in doing that, we need a place to put those materials, so we may use Black Lane to do that. So we'll keep an eye on that and make a determination as we move forward. At Fairborn Primary School, the hot water loop that we replaced the fittings on has been running up to temperature. It's holding, which is a good thing. Kind of nervous to say that. Sometimes you jinx yourself, but I think we'll be in good shape with that. As we work our way through the 11-month punch list, many of those items are being reduced. We've got a few more things to take place as far as doors and small things, but a lot of the major things have taken place. And just want to make sure that those things are ready to make that transition for hopefully the intermediate school into the new intermediate school next summer. And we're watching as the construction goes up a Maple. It's progressing well, but many of you know that we're having issues with the roofing materials. And at this point in time, we have a temporary roofing solution on that. It's doing its job, but as we move into the winter season, we'll have to see how that goes. And still on track to get into the building next summer, but it is a little scary. As you walk through it, and as Commissioner McCourt said, the drywall is going up. We've got a lot of stuff happening. It's just the fact that it's not all dried in. We do anticipate putting windows in sometime between Thanksgiving and, say, winter break. Once we do that, we'll provide some temporary heating and so forth. But the whole thing with the intermediate building falls back to the temporary roofing solution and getting that material in. We're being told that those materials will be delivered in January. We've been told that for a couple months now, so that date hasn't moved, which is good. The bad thing about those materials coming in January, the temperature outside has to be a certain level to be able to put that material down. In January, most likely, it's not going to be warm enough to do that. So that means maybe March to get those roofing materials on and so forth. So I'm a little nervous about that one. So that's a concern. But we're planning on moving. We've got furniture. Basically, we've almost finished up the furniture, getting ready to bid that. Trying to do that as early as we can, knowing that materials are coming in a little bit, taking longer than normal to get. We've also talked to moving companies about being able to move and everything. So we're trying to continue that. I bring that up because one of the dates that's important, you have a huge schedule, and there's a bunch of dates inside the schedule, and the main date to me is the substantial completion date. That's a big date. And originally, our substantial completion date was the end of April. We are now to the end of May, where May 31st is our substantial completion date. And for reference, that's kind of where the primary ended up. Primary ended up being into June a little bit. But so we're still able to do things, and we still have our hopes out, but we just need to make sure that a lot's going to depend on the materials, getting furniture, and that kind of stuff. So we'll just kind of play that by ear as we move forward. The new high school site, as you drive past it, you'll see that a lot of the site work's been done. The stabilization's been done for basically the pads of the academic, the performing arts, the administrative, and the arena areas. Some of the driveways have been put in place and are stable. And as Mr. McCourt said, as you move to the north end of the property, they've incorporated a lot of dirt. We moved a lot of dirt around on the site. Didn't have to buy any dirt, which is a great thing, but we did move it. And raised quite a bit of the north end of the property, anywhere from 5 to 8 feet. So that's kind of an interesting factor. Should help with the visibility from 675. We did run into a snag this week. We did hit some bedrock. As we tried to connect to the sewage line that's on Commerce Center Boulevard, the first 50 feet from Commerce into the property at the depth we needed to get was bedrock. So we did have to bring a grinder in and grind it away, and that kind of will be paid for in our contingency fund. You know, those things that we don't see, that's why you have your contingency fund. It's there, it helps take care of those things. So that was one of the things that popped up this week, but we did get through it. Hopefully sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas, you'll start to see some digging of the footers. We'll hopefully get a guaranteed maximum price in place. Once we get that in place with the contractor, we can start that digging process. And basically, as we move forward, there's no new information on the wetlands or the archaeological study. So we're still not too sure where we stand with the Corps of Engineers, and the Ohio Historical Society has not given us an answer on any type of archaeological study. So we've completed all the paperwork that needs to be done. It's sitting on somebody else's desk. So we're not the ones holding it up. So any questions about anything?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Page 2, next item is from the Budget and Finance Group. Treasurer recommendation is made to approve the following. One being the financial report for September 2021, and attachment there. And then the second one is to approve the $106,000 donation from a donor who will remain anonymous for what is called the shock pad or concussion pad. This shock pad or concussion pad will go underneath the turf in our football field to hopefully, it won't eliminate, but hopefully knock down the concussion rates for the athletes and as well soccer. So with that said, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Mary. Thank you, Jerry. Mr. Philo?
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes, motion carries. Next item from the administration, our administrative reports and superintendent recommendation. Superintendent recommendation is made to approve the following. We have a few pages there.
Yeah, page,
I'll go back to page 8.
Let's start at page 4. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
page 4.
Page 4. You want to go ahead with that, Andy?
Sure. Page 4 is we have a retirement, Vicki Weiss, K through 3 success in literacy at Fairborn Intermediate School. Retiring, request a resolution for retirement for 34 years of service, all with Fairborn City Schools. So,
Wow.
That's impressive. Thank you, Vicki.
yes, thank you very much,
Absolutely.
Vicki.
And then I'd also like to call out on page 7, at our last meeting, the cheerleaders had presented for their competition at Cheer Nationals in Orlando. So I'd like to call out the fact that March 22nd, they'll be able to compete in Orlando.
Great. Anyone else? May I have a motion?
So moved?
Second?
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Mary. Mr. Philo?
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes. Gifts and donations. Jerry, you want to help me here?
Yeah. So, you know, as always, we appreciate gifts and donations to the district. It does a lot for our students. The first, Joshua Allenbach, 21 cases of hand sanitizer for the Fairborn Primary School, and the Ernst family $300 for clothing for homeless students. Next are all donations to the Ron McDermott Scholarship Fund. William Arnold, $50. Jerry and Judith Baker, $100. Bruce and Kathleen Call, $100. John and Maxine Dupree, $50. Dr. Thomas and Paula Fulton, $200. Jack and Judy Gayhart, $100. David and Patricia Harris, $50. David and Sandra Hosfeld, $50. R.S. and Ruth Hildebrand, $100. John Lonsway, $50. Thomas and Deborah Massey, $100. Eric and Carrie McHenry, $100. Deborah Piros, $50. W.F. and M.R. Powers, $50. Sean Quinn, $100. George and Jane Rasinkovich, $50. Philip and Mary Spar, $25. James and Mary Spilson, $50. Mel and Joan Sturts, $50. Retta Thornton, $20. Terry and Ann Wise, $100. And Mike Geary, $2,000. So we'd like to really thank everybody that donated for the establishment of Ron McDermott Scholarship Fund. We talked about, his passing earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Mr. Philo?
At this time, the board will take a short 5-minute recess. They'll go into a work session to discuss a couple items, and then we'll go into executive session for personnel matters. Anticipate going out of executive session and adjourning. So those are the other action items tonight. Thank you for attending. We'll take a short break, and then they'll